Hello aspirants and welcome again to Legacy IAS Academy. In this video, we will be discussing about the latest United Nations resolution which was brought out in order to censure Iran. Now, with respect to this particular resolution, India has voted against it. So we'll understand what is happening in Iran, or what was the reason with respect to which this resolution was brought in, and why did India vote against it, what is the stand that India has on this particular issue, and what is the issue going on, as well as what is going to be the way forward with respect to that issue. So let us get started with the news. So as I've told you, India has voted against the UNHRC, that is United Nations Human Rights Council's resolution. Now this resolution was brought in order to condemn Iran. Now, why do they want to condemn Iran? So, as it stands, in Iran, there started protests. Now, protests have happened previously as well, but the magnitude of this protest was quite high, and instead of just talking about the rights and better economy, they quickly started talking about the overthrow of the entire government that is there and to replace it with monarchy. That was the demand, subsequent to which there was a crackdown on the protest by Iranian government. Now this has probably led to thousands of deaths. Now the numbers that are coming out are different. The government sources say more than 3,000, but the non-government sources are claiming that it is way more than that. So this is what is happening, as a result of which the resolution was brought in to condemn what Iran, or rather the government of Iran, is doing. Now, so this resolution was about the protest which started 28th December onwards. Now this resolution basically expressed its concern with respect to the deaths, injuries and the arrests of the protesters that took place. So how did the voting go? Let us have a look at that. So around 25 countries voted in favor of this resolution, that means supporting the requirement for Iran, for condemning Iran and its government for doing this. There were 14 countries that were which are under abstention. Abstention means they did not choose to vote at all. They had abstention against the vote. They did not choose to vote at all. And then there are 7 countries who voted against this resolution, and one of them is our own country, that is India. So this is how the voting basically went on. Now let's see what were the key provisions of the resolution. So the resolution basically tried to have an extended mandate of independent international fact-finding mission on Iran for 2 years. So they wanted to have an independent mission which will find out the facts as to what is happening, why it is happening, what is being done, so on and so forth. Next, the special reporter on the human rights in Iran to check out about the human rights in Iran that is there. Then urged Iran to prevent extrajudicial killing and stop the arbitrary arrest, prevent torture, protect peaceful protests. Now, what is wrong in that? Everything is proper. But the issue that comes over here is, if you're saying all this, that means you're saying that this is what is happening. And maybe again, the argument is that yes, this is happening. But then why did India still choose to vote against? We will see that as well. So let us look at India's stand on United Nations Human Rights Council's resolution. Now, India opposed the resolution because of, number one, national sovereignty. Iran is a sovereign nation. So Iran should be capable enough and should be allowed to take care of the situation in a just manner on its own, and we should avoid internationalizing the internal issue. So second was non-interference in the internal affairs. Right? At the same time, it is also alleged, especially by Iran, that this resolution was very politically motivated, and there is opposition to politically motivated resolutions by India. So any resolution which has political motivation, India does not support that kind of a resolution. So based on these grounds, India opposed this resolution as such. Now let us have a look at the India-Iran diplomatic engagement. So our External Affairs Minister, Mr. S. Jaishankar, he spoke with his counterpart, that is the Iranian Foreign Minister, Syed Abbas Araghchi. Now this discussion focused on the evolving regional situation in Iran and the surrounding regions. So all this was discussed between the two nations. Now this of course indicates continued diplomatic relation of India with Iran even when situation is going on like this. However, having said that, having voted against this, India however has released fresh advisory for Indians who were planning to go to Iran. The advisory was released, but also there are Indians who are already in Iran, so fresh advisory have been released for them, right? Fresh means another one previously was there, another one has been released, wherein Indian citizens are asked to avoid the non-essential travel to Iran. So don't go to Iran if it's not essential. Stay away from the protest areas. Follow the local developments, means keep yourself up to date with the news. Remain in contact with the Indian embassy in Iran. So these are the precautions that Indians need to do with respect to their travel or stay in Iran. Now let's see what is the significance of India's foreign policy over here. Now significance means, see, first things first, India follows a policy known as a de-hyphenation policy. De-hyphenation policy. That means India's decision is not going to be impacted or influenced by some other country's decision. That means what India's relation with Iran is there has nothing to do with Iran's or USA's relation with Iran or USA's relation with India. We take decisions irrespective of any dependency from any country, right? That is one thing. So now let us look at the significance. Now this particular decision of India to vote against, it reflects basically strategic autonomy. That means we have our strategic autonomy. De-hyphenation policy, under the pressure of USA or any other country of the world, India cannot yield under that pressure and vote accordingly. We will still maintain our strategic autonomy, and our decision is based on issues. So do we have issues with Iran? Is it of our concern? If it is not, what is for our benefit? What is right? What does the international law actually say? All those things we follow and take decisions accordingly, and do not vote in favor of things if we see that they are politically motivated. But at the same time, India also believes in human rights, of course. Addressing things without violence, diplomatically, through conversation, as a result of which we balance the human rights that are there. So balancing the human rights concerns along with the geopolitical interests as well is important, as well as energy security and regional stability. India depends quite a lot on Iran. Now we have our projects, for example the Chabahar port going on in Iran, and we have our diplomatic ties, plus India wants stability in you can say the West Asia region, the region wherein India's the energy security relies on, as a result of which we always try to balance the things, at the same time taking human rights along with us. So India, after this voting, has been consistent with its past voting behavior at United Nations body. So it is not something out of the ordinary. Now why it is not something out of the ordinary? Since the beginning of time or United Nations resolution, India has always favored with respect to sovereignty of a nation and its capacity and ability and the right to determine things for itself. And India has always ensured that the internal issues are not internationalized, whether it is about India or any country for that matter. And that is exactly what India is following this time also around, where India chose to go against the United Nations resolution. Thank you.